Very nice. So how's the color of the trees? Are they changed or are they still?
They're just starting.
Um, it's a beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's always the beautiful season.
right.
Yeah, let me see here. Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cheyenne's Forum. Today is October 8th, and here's my dear friend Tom. Tom, how are you?
Great. How are you today?
Very good. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, we do have lots of questions for Tom today, big questions. But before we start, I like to introduce Tom to my audience. Tom worked for FBI for 30 years, and he worked as assistant director of FBI for 5 years, and he's retired now. Again, thank you so much, Tom, to come to our podcast.
My pleasure. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure, of course. So, as expected, Comey went to the court today at Alexandria, Virginia, and plead not guilty at this morning arrangement. So it's not surprise that he plead not guilty. But my question is, both charges against him currently fall under the category of criminal offenses. Do you believe that weaponize the jurisdiction system can be considered as an act of a treason? Meaning that the criminal, is that too light for him?
Well, it's just, they were running out of time because of the statute of limitations. So they were trying to
Oh,
use as one of the days they said he lied was
mm-hmm,
5 years ago in September.
mm-hmm,
And that's why they had to hurry up and try to get this indictment charged
mm-hmm,
before that 5 year deadline. Or then the statute of limitations, meaning the deadline to bring charges, would have run out. So now that they have those charges in place, they can change, they can add, they can amend all of these charges later.
oh,
They can file an additional indictments above and beyond it.
okay,
And they can also start to include, because he's been the same denial that he made 5 years ago, he's
mm-hmm,
been making since then.
mm-hmm,
So they'll be able, it's just that that one was more dramatic. It was on, you know, tape recorded testimony in front of Congress. So that's just part of what they do. They return like a placeholder charge
mm-hmm.
just to stop the time limit on statute of limitations, it's called.
Sure, sure. Well, that's really smart. It sounds like a strategy. Just filed the criminal before the limited of the time. But the other question is why they take them so long to file? Why wait until last
Well,
minute?
part of it was that during the Biden administration, they weren't going to charge him.
Of course.
Merrick Garland DOJ wasn't going to charge him, so he had free reign up until Trump comes to office, and
Right.
then they've got to find the attorneys within Department of Justice and who will be able to assemble all the evidence and present it to the grand jury in time. So these things do take a lot of time.
Okay. Great, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, so this is actually a big question because lots of people thought that he is not only should be considered as a criminal, as much serious than that. So, but we can add on that.
These are serious charges. I mean, he is being considered a criminal.
Yeah, right.
Given these charges and the length of prison sentences that if he was convicted would
Sure.
apply. But
Sure.
again, these aren't probably the final charges. And so, they can amend the
Hmm.
indictment and add more later, but they had to get a placeholder to
Hmm.
have charges started.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. So, from your point of view, do you think this case will last forever, like a long trial, a very difficult trial? He actually will have a very good lawyer to defend him. And do you have any thought about how long it might take?
Well, it's going to depend on what evidence they want to present at the time of the trial. And of
Hmm.
course, they'll have to, as they consider additional charges, um, they have to tell the defense attorney, in this case, Pat Fitzgerald, what they're going to present, what witnesses they're going to bring in to testify against him. So all of this will give the defense time to respond to it.
Hmm.
And, it could take time.
Hmm. Yeah, sure. So the judges, I forgot his name, the judge, who
Yeah, I
is,
forgot also.
yeah, appointed by Joe Biden. So do you think it will help Comey?
It won't hurt. It could, yeah. We'll see.
Okay. So who pick up the judge? I just wonder.
Normally, they have like an assigned rotation within the districts of which judge is next, which judge has availability, and
Hmm.
that type of thing. And in this case, I'm not exactly sure if they just went with the normal rotation or if somebody in the system picked him.
Hmm. All right. Okay, so we'll see. And then how about Christopher Ray? I'm actually out of patience to waiting for the Christopher Ray
You and me
to,
both.
yeah.
At times I watched him testify, and I
Uh-huh.
was doing other podcasts at the time, and I said the day he testified in several different instances, he's lying.
Right.
No question, he's lying. And I
Mm-hmm.
used the example in his case
Mm-hmm.
of when they had when it went public that the FBI was looking at the Catholic Church in Richmond, Virginia,
Right.
because they had started using Latin in a couple of their masses. Now,
Mm-hmm.
people, when I was a young boy, the masses were still in Latin.
Mm-hmm.
In the 1960s, they had what they call the Ecumenical Council
Mm-hmm.
in Rome, and
Mm-hmm.
they advised the Pope at the time that we would have more attendance at churches if we allowed the individual churches to do masses in the native language of that country.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing them all in Latin worldwide, the churches could decide. So if they're in America, they could do them in English. If they're in France, they could do them in French. Whatever country they're in, they could
Mm-hmm.
use the language of that country to
Right.
perform mass.
Mm-hmm.
So that was passed at the time. Now, I think that was around 1965, something like that. So if
Mm-hmm.
you have people that have been going to Catholic Mass
Mm-hmm.
since the 1930s or 40s,
Mm-hmm.
they still wanted to hear it in Latin. They were still used to the tradition of a Latin Mass, and the Latin language that they used, much like Italian, beautiful sounding language. In
Mm-hmm.
English, some of the verses might sound dumb, but
Mm-hmm.
in a
And
foreign, beautiful language like Latin, oh, it sounded so sacred.
mm-hmm.
And so the church said, well, this will probably help our attendance if we allow individual churches to decide, or they could split it. So you have the church in Richmond, Virginia
Mm-hmm.
decide, okay, some masses will be Latin and some will be English. And that,
Well, there.
try and please everybody.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden the FBI issues this directive saying to look at this because if they're doing it in Latin, they must be domestic terrorists or there must be something evil about that, which was absurd.
But what,
And
hold
so
on.
it caused a big controversy nationwide when that became public. So Christopher Wray, I remember at the time, June of that year, was testifying before Jim Jordan's committee in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan says, Director Wray, and he's saying everybody is outraged that you've opened an investigation into the Diocese of Richmond on why are they doing this and all of that, trying to intimidate them.
Mm-hmm.
And Ray's answer was, I was shocked and outraged when I heard that. We're not going to tolerate them. And
I remember that. I
I
remember
sent a
that.
directive to them to stop that and blah,
Yep.
blah, blah.
Yep.
We're going to. So Jordan's asking, well, who was responsible for putting
Right.
this out?
Right.
And Ray says, we are going to
Well,
investigate this,
right.
going to have inspectors look at this, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll have an answer. We'll get to the bottom of this. So
Mm-hmm.
now this is June of that year.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan asks him, well, about how long will that take?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we should have an answer by the end of summer. Now, I said at the time in podcasts that I were doing, he's lying
Mm-hmm.
because I had been on inspection staff. I
Mm-hmm.
had conducted internal investigations like that, similar to where accusations are made
Mm-hmm.
against management or agents within an FBI division or
Mhm.
even clerical employees. But the investigation then, they would assign an inspector, which
Mhm.
in many of those cases, I was one being
Mhm.
assigned. And the
Mhm.
inspector might, because of the notoriety of that case, the inspector might be able to take one assistant inspector or 21 assistant inspectors, as long as how complex they think it is, how
Mhm.
many interviews, how many records they're going to have to review. And the inspection division of the FBI that conducts these internal investigations will make a determination of how many they think it will take to get this accomplished very fast because it's receiving so much negative publicity
Mhm.
nationwide. So I was on inspections, similar internal investigations,
Mhm.
where you knew it had to be done within a week at the most, including the time for assistant inspectors to fly in from other divisions because you're not going to have the inspection by its own employees in Richmond. So bring in objective agents in management and
Mhm.
assign an inspector in charge to run the internal investigation.
Mhm.
And I knew at the time for this kind of a case, and the fact that Richmond is a very small division, I think under
Mhm.
100 agents,
Mhm.
that maybe a week at the most, maybe two, but probably a week. And
Mhm.
here's Ray saying, "Oh, maybe by the end of summer we'll know." And I said, "He's lying.
Yep.
He's lying right there. That's not true. That's not how long these things take."
Mhm.
And Jordan, of course, asked him, "Well, will you report back to us immediately when you have these?" "Oh, yes, I'll come right back and tell you what we found."
Mhm.
Did you ever hear the results of that investigation? No. No, they just kind of stall it and hope it goes away, and it goes away. There are other things come up, and there's other issues. By
Yep.
the end of summer, there's more issues to deal with. And
Mhm.
so many, many times I watched Ray testify
Mhm.
and knew he's not being truthful and got away with it. He got away with this. Ray has not been charged.
Yeah. So far. Yeah, I have a question regarding the logic um of they connect the Latin mass and domestic terrorism. What's the logic there? Why they
Well, that
connect them?
because they're doing this mysterious, it's basically a foreign language, and why are they doing that? And what's the point of using a separate language that the average person doesn't understand? And so they made it, because of the mysterious aspect of it, they made that sound evil.
Okay.
Congress made that sound. The public made that sound, and Ray didn't help. No, we'll find out right away who issued it, and we'll, and Ray could have explained. They should have known even at that point, after the controversy started, that that's why they allowed churches to reinstate Latin for some of their masses.
Well, so it seems like they have problem of the foreign language. There are so many different occasions around the United States that using the different languages. Like Indian people get together, they have gathering, they speak Indian. Chinese people speak Chinese. So why these people are just normal, acceptable, but the mass in church use
Well,
Latin
because those are current languages being spoken somewhere, as you're mentioning, in a community, people are speaking that
their
language.
language.
If
Yeah,
you're in Chinatown and all the
right,
Chinese people are
right,
speaking in Chinese,
right, right.
but nobody, as a rule, is speaking English. I mean, speaking Latin. It's even referred to as I studied Latin in school.
Mhm,
It's considered a dead language. And so the mass that was originally many of the verses, many of the songs, many of the prayers that were in Latin, oh,
mhm,
they sounded so beautiful in Latin. When they were
mhm.
transmitted into English, many of
That's
them just sounded dumb. But
right,
the Latin made them just sound so
right.
sacred and elegant and perfect.
Uh-huh. So I still don't understand the logic there. So maybe there is no logic. They just want to establish an enemy for them to attack.
That's the logic, yes.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So yeah, because you're mentioned about the church, I actually do have a question regarding that, but that's the last question. But right now, I think I can have the question in this moment. Pope Leo, he actually reported that he stepped up his campaign against Trump um, regarding the immigration policy. And it seems like um, today, he argued to the American bishops. They have a meeting with American bishops at yeah, at the Europe, and he argued them to speak out against Trump's administration's policy of deporting millions of illegal aliens. And also, he said, it's very interesting. His remark come just a few days after he took issue with Trump's administration describing itself as a pro-life because of its determination of carry out mass deportation. And the Pope Leo said, someone who says I'm against abortion but says I am in favor of death penalty is not really pro-life. And he also said, so someone who said, I'm against abortion, but I'm agree in agreement with the inhuman treatment of the immigrations in the United States, I do not know if that's pro-life. What do you think about his thought?
I don't know because the idea of deporting the illegal immigrants, the 10 or 15 million that were allowed in by the Biden administration, um, they have no right to be here. They came here illegally,
Mm-hmm,
and the only right they have is to be citizens in the original country they left.
mm-hmm,
So for outside people, whether it's religious leaders or whether it's the Pope or bishops or anybody else, to criticize returning people that are here illegally to
mm-hmm.
their country of citizenship. Uh,
No.
I don't agree with them criticizing it or
Mm-hmm.
saying they should be against it.
Hmm. And also his logic about if someone that describe itself as a pro-life cannot someone who says I'm against abortion but says I'm in favor of death penalty is not really pro-life.
That's very simple. The fetus has not committed a crime, has not knowingly broke the law or
Yep.
tried to do something illegal or immoral or anything else. It's
Right.
just it's living within the mother.
Right.
The people that get the death penalty, the theory there is
Mm-hmm.
that they deliberately, willfully violated the laws of society
Mm-hmm.
and did something so evil
Mm-hmm.
that they've been condemned to death. And
Mm-hmm.
the idea is there, and I think I've spoken about this before, because you have Charlie Kirk's widow
Mm-hmm.
in the speech that she gave saying she she does
For,
not she
forgive.
forgives him and she
Yeah.
does not, agree with the death.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the death penalty is not for her benefit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for her family's benefit. It's
Uh-huh.
for the benefit of our whole society.
Mm-hmm.
That if we have someone that's a murderer at large in our society, the society is taking upon itself the right to kill that person, to give
Right.
them the death penalty.
Right.
So it's not trying to benefit individual victims or the victims' families or neighbors or neighborhood. It's
Mm-hmm.
society as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And because if you look now at the country, society as a whole is not enforcing most laws because
Mm-hmm.
of the liberal judges.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these judges letting people out after they've been convicted of 10 or 14 violent crimes,
Mm-hmm.
letting them free.
Right.
Like the guy that killed the woman on the train
Mm-hmm.
in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he had already been in jail how many times,
Right.
and they keep letting him out, and he kills her. So that's the idea behind the death penalty is
Mm-hmm.
that it's for the benefit of society, not just
Mm-hmm.
one person or one family or one small group of victims.
Right, right. I totally agree with you. And I
So
was,
anyway, to me, you cannot compare an unborn
yeah,
baby to an adult that's
exactly.
committed crimes on purpose, that
Right,
knows what he's, that intentionally
right,
violates the law and violates the life, safety, and happiness of fellow citizens. The
right,
baby has done nothing wrong.
right, right. Exactly. I totally 100%, 200% agree with you. And
Thank you.
yeah, sure, of course. And I just a little surprised about how Pop saying that. I just don't believe that it's Pop saying that. I read the news in Chinese and then I try to follow the original like English report. Yeah, he did say that. And so I try to understand his logic, again, logic. Why he say that? My guess is he maybe thought every single life is equal. In religion's point of view, yes, but in society, in law, it's not. It's just like you said. And innocent people and a criminal are their life is different, right?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. So it's a little surprised me. That's why I like to, yeah, hear your opinion of that. Well, thank you so much. And talk about law and order. I like to discuss with you law and order because I think we do need this here in the States. President Trump just have a Truth Social right. He said Chicago mayor should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. Governor also. So his opinion is very clear that you guys are belong to jail because you failing to protect our ICE officers. What?
Even before that, he's failing to protect people of the city of Chicago.
Yeah, right.
All of these mayors that are doing that. I
Mm,
thought it was interesting in the congressional hearings that Pam Bondi testified yesterday, I believe. She was questioned and criticized by Illinois Senator Dick Durbin.
mhm,
And Durbin was questioning her on these policies, and then she gave it right back to him. She
mhm,
said, you don't care, you hate, you don't love the city of Chicago or the citizens of Chicago
mhm,
because you hate Trump more. So
mhm,
the heck with your citizens, with protecting your citizens, the heck with it. You'd
mhm,
rather let them suffer as long as you can criticize Trump or go against Trump policies. And
mhm,
I thought that her testimony, I thought was very, very effective
mhm.
against Illinois politicians. And so
Right.
for Trump to say same thing, if they're not, these guys are not just allowing ICE or other federal agents to be unprotected if they call for help,
Mhm,
especially,
mhm.
but they're not protecting their own citizens.
Right.
And so I think that, I don't know, and this goes back, I've talked about this before, that how is it that Democrats continue to elect these morons
I
that
know.
don't protect them, that don't protect their city, that don't
Right.
do any of that? Now you
Right.
have New York about to elect Mondami. Same thing. They're crazy. And then
Right.
they wonder what the problem is, or they want the federal government or somebody else to bail them out.
Right. You know what they do in Chicago? They, of course, they are not cooperate with ICE. 2 days ago, Norm went to the ground to do the job with the officers, and she needs to use the restroom. So she went to the federal building, not federal building, it's a state building or police station, just try to use their restroom. They reject her. They do not even let her use the restroom. And she explained behind the door to them, I just want to use the restroom. Could we please? They said, no, it's ridiculous. These
It's very
people,
ridiculous.
wrong
And I
with them?
think that and the citizens of Chicago in these bad neighborhoods want ICE to come in. They
Yeah,
want National Guard. They want this kind of support because they're not getting it from their own police department or their own mayor or governor. And you see this in other cities as well, that they're not protecting their own people. In the case of Mondami in New York, he's basically saying he wants to defund the police and take away a lot of their programs and everything like. So he's admitting he's not going to protect his own people, and he's the front runner. They're going to elect him.
Wow.
So I
What
don't know. I don't know,
do you say?
what it is about, and I was going to say it, these Democrats that they can keep electing these idiots that don't serve their best purpose, that don't help their own city or state. Pritzker in Illinois, another moron. So yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I just yeah, I don't understand the logic. Talk about the logic. It's totally I'm totally lost. Yeah.
Now,
And
what's interesting is, and they know that, Washington, D.C. is considered a federal city, District of Columbia, not
right,
part of any one state,
right,
even though Democrats have talked about letting them be a state.
right.
Hopefully they don't,
Uh-huh.
and won't ever allow that.
Mhm.
But, Mayor Bowser, when Trump first announced sending in the National Guard and everything, she's screaming bloody murder.
Yeah,
Once
she
they get in there and there's no murders for a couple of weeks, there's no serious crime rate drops, the city's doing great.
hmm
And suddenly, at least to her credit, she says, well, things are better. We'll let them stay till at least New Year's.
hmm
So, Trump basically wins the day because they went in there and were effective and
hmm
doing something that none of the local elected officials of DC have ever. They didn't do it because they didn't want to.
right.
And so here Trump goes in and shows them, okay, here's how you do it, and help them do it. And then suddenly they're going, to her credit at least, she admitted it. Yeah, it's better now, better than it was.
Oh, yeah. So do you think, Tom, the mayor and the governor will really be
No,
arrested?
no, of course not.
It's just saying,
Not
or
unless they went out on the street and physically blocked ICE or blocked, guardsmen or something like that. So I think that, unless they physically
Mhm,
prevent them from doing their job, if they're just mouthing off, you
mhm,
know, rhetoric and that's all, then no, nothing will happen. And I think that in a way, it actually serves Trump's purpose that they do that.
mhm,
Let them criticize, let them complain. And
mhm.
meantime, in the neighborhoods, the citizens are saying, thank you, Trump, for sending in the guard. They're
Right,
thanking the government for doing that.
right. So these lefties are just against their own people, so obviously. And
Well,
so,
I think they know, I think they're intelligent enough to realize that the people will still vote for them. People will still vote Democratic and put them back in office year after year. And so that's why they don't require logic or anything else to justify what they're doing. They just don't do what they don't want to do. And and the public in the neighborhood can say, this is terrible. We really want police. We really want, if we need National Guard or somebody else to help the police, we
Mhm,
want ICE to get rid of these bad guys that have poured in, thank you, Biden.
mhm.
And then when nothing gets changed to improve it, they vote the same Democrats back in office.
Yeah, so this is so weird. It's just like someone keep beating you and you still say, wow, you're
Yeah,
good.
right.
That's pretty much the same thing. And talk about the Democrats who's not care about anybody but themselves. There's another example about the government shutdown. They don't care. They
Yeah.
don't care. But on Monday, uh, Senator John Senator Kennedy, he's from Louisiana, right?
Kennedy, yes.
Yeah, Kennedy, yeah. He predicted that Chuck Schumer would to be forced to engineer an off-ramp to end these ongoing government shutdown. And he's so funny. He said, I know him well. The shutdown is not about policy. It's
Serious?
about, yeah, it's about politicians. He said, Schumer, this is what's going on. He's trying to get the loon wing, the socialism wing of Democrats Party, which is in control, to love him, and they will never love him.
No,
Yeah.
no,
So
they won't.
yeah, my question is, have the socialism Party or socialist people really taking control of the Democrats in Congress?
Absolutely. Because the left wing, you take somebody like AOC, Schumer is afraid of being primaried by her. When the next election comes up and Schumer's term as senator is about to expire,
Hmm.
she's going to run against him within the Democratic Party and will probably beat him. And he knows that and he's afraid of it. And so that's why he's trying to go along with the extreme left wing of the party, including her, and trying to give them whatever they want, because otherwise he's afraid he won't be reelected.
Well, so then I have a question about AOC. She has done nothing but destroy this country. So who's behind her? Who's behind her? Who give her money? Who support her to change actually the Democrats? The Democrats right now is a communist party.
Yeah.
Someone changed that. So who's behind AOC? Who's behind these
I
people?
don't know. Could be Soros. It could be one of the many Soros uh, organizations that exist to funnel money to people. So it
Mhm.
could be that. But yeah, she enjoys being the celebrity and being the darling of the left wing of the Democratic Party.
So it's like a revolution to Democrats party.
Yeah.
And right now, people like Schumer, they think you guys are not left enough. So we're going to get rid of you guys. And we're going to have the pure Communist Party to take over the whole Democrats.
Like
Well,
Mondami in New York.
right, right.
Right.
Wow, this is horrifying. It's just like they um yeah, they're almost a success, right? Actually, they changed the Democrats already, or
Oh yeah,
almost.
very much.
Right. Yeah. Well.
Well,
All right.
we're gonna see,
Mm-hmm.
what comes in the midterm elections next year.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. We'll see how many seats they lose or what. Because right now,
Mm-hmm.
it's close enough for the Democrats in the House, in the Senate, that they are able to obstruct a lot of, the stuff that Trump wants to do. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see if how many of them lose their positions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, talking about that, the Democrats' voting rights group are now preparing for the Supreme Court to abolish the Voting Rights Act district, resulting about 19 plus more Republic House seats being added. So,
Yeah.
do you know what is the Voting Rights Act and when they start to do that in
Well, the
favor?
Voting Rights Act was first passed by Congress in 1965 at the
Okay.
height of the civil rights movement.
Uh-huh.
And and so it was basically stop any practices which might diminish one group or another group from being electable. And so, that's where a lot of that started. A lot of the welfare, civil rights laws, and all of that were passed during that mid 60s time
Hmm.
frame. And and some of it has been detrimental in the long run. For example,
Hmm.
the laws that were passed regarding welfare required that if a woman wanted to qualify for welfare, the husband or father of those kids could not live in the house.
Oh.
So, so they created a situation where there was actually internal investigations when a woman, applied for welfare and said, "I have 8 kids
Hmm.
and live by I'm the sole head of the household."
Hmm.
Then in many cases, they sent investigators to see if they really were living alone without a man, without a husband. And so it encouraged at the time fatherless homes, fatherless children. And even Obama at the time when he got elected said, this is a recipe for disaster. We need fathers in the home
Right.
teaching their sons, especially the sons.
Right.
And if we don't have that, and he quoted percentages, how many will end up in prison, how many will drop out of school, how many, all the negative things that would happen to black boys
Mm-hmm.
growing up
Mm-hmm.
if there wasn't a father figure in the home or an actual father in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And much of that's what has come to pass since then.
Wow, I actually thank you so much. I heard that for the first time. So, in order to qualify to have welfare, you cannot have a father at home.
Right,
Or
right.
so, what's the logic behind? Why?
Well, the logic was if there's a father in the house, he can earn money and support the kids, and then there should be no need for welfare. But that was the logic. So in many cases, the fathers moved out, or the women threw them out.
So it's in.
Or the woman might have multiple children and not even know which child belongs to which father.
I saw that. I'm telling you, when I first come to the States 30 years ago, I saw a woman who had 10 kids and she just bought the 10 kids to the restaurant. So I just talked to her and she just proudly told me that they have different fathers. That this is the first time I saw that and I just asked her, what do you mean? How many fathers are they?
Yeah.
She
And
told me
they
at least five, and very proudly.
yeah.
It was very surprised to me. So this
And they
policy,
didn't have the DNA testing then to verify which kid belonged to which father.
right. So this kind of policy destroyed the core family, right?
Yes.
They
Yes.
encourage the single family, they encourage the single mother.
Right. And not
Well,
just encouraged, required it.
exactly.
So if the mother went ahead and had more babies, then that was a necessity.
So are these policies still on? We're still follow that law?
As far as I know, probably.
Okay, so that explains why we have so many and more single family here in the States.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's the one of the laws passed in during 1960s at that period of time. And also Voting Rights Act. So how the Voting Rights Act worked? They have some certain area, how that works.
Well, the idea behind the Voting Rights Act is that, if you're a person of color, you have the same right to vote as white Caucasian,
Hmm.
regular Americans.
Hmm.
And so that was the idea, was to make sure they have that right. Now, in some places, some jurisdictions, the accusation was that requirements were being put in place that the average black person would have a hard time voting. And that was the idea of the Voting Rights Act, was to make it legitimate for everybody that was a citizen to be able to vote.
Hmm. Well, it sounds fair, right? But
Sounds fair.
are they abuse this act?
No, I think
Hmm.
for the most part, it was fair,
Hmm.
more fair than the previous system, but yeah.
Right. But on why the Supreme Court may be considered to cancel that.
I don't know. I don't know what they're considering,
Uh-huh.
parts of it or all of it or what. It would be hard to believe that they would abolish it.
Right, right. And also, is that related to the congressional district, which
That's a whole other story. The
okay,
gerrymandering, as it's called,
gerrymandered, right, right, right,
so
right.
that within a given state, the two parties argue about the actual size and dimensions of each congressional district.
Mm-hmm,
And if you look at many of the states, the way, if the Democrats had power, then they wanted it drawn a certain way that would prevent a lot of Republicans in those districts from being elected,
mm-hmm,
that it favored Democrats.
mm-hmm,
And if you look at some of the states where they've realigned that, it's horrible.
mm-hmm.
You have this line through the middle of the state, which is all Democrats.
Uh-huh,
So, so that's a whole other issue of trying to straighten that out,
mm-hmm,
or reduce gerrymandering or make it fair.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, but this is depends on every states, right? It's not
Yeah, each state. So far, the way the Constitution's written on elections is the states control their elections. It's not it's not a federal issue or has not been other than on
Mm-hmm.
the edge, fairness issues or race issues, some of that. But for
Mm-hmm.
the most part, the states get to decide how they want to do it.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah. So this is what California is doing right now.
Yep.
Gavin Newsom, yeah, he wants to, yeah. And then he's a crazy guy. Let me put him this way. He's crazy. And he
I
actually,
heard since you bring that up, I heard the woman of The View. If you ever watched that television show, and
oh,
Joy Behar and a couple of these women who
mm-hmm,
are very liberal, and I'll never forget watching one of the women of The View,
uh-huh,
uh, who was actually an attorney,
mm-hmm.
actually say, "Yeah, but Gavin Newsom is so pretty. He's so attractive. I have to vote for him. He's just so attractive."
She is a lawyer.
Yeah. Sunny Hostin is her name. She was from Puerto Rico. I remember years ago when I was a CNN analyst, she was
Uh-huh.
also an analyst for CNN. And she is just so outrageously liberal. We had a few arguments on the air at the time. But
Good.
even now, she's on this, with Joy Behar and a couple of these other
Uh-huh,
liberal women,
uh-huh.
and she's just, you know, off the charts liberal.
Yeah, I think I know the show, but I never saw that. I personally do not like to hear their point of view. They're just, I don't
No,
know.
but some of the other shows like Fox and Newsmax will show clips of the outrageous things they say or do.
They are
So that way you get to see what they're talking about.
maybe this is their purpose, right? To get outreach and to get the views.
Yeah,
Talking about that, there's one, I think it's funny, and I cannot believe it's true, but it's true, unfortunately. The lady, her name is Kate, oh, I forgot her last name. However, she is the running candidates of the California governor, who is Democrat. And she actually talked in the show, and she said her 12-year girl crying in the car and the end of 2024. And she asked her, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Mom, Trump wins. I just wonder if I get ripped, I cannot get abortion." She's 12 years old.
yeah,
This lady used this as an example. I don't know if this is true or not, but she said it's true, right? She said, okay, see how people get hurt by the result of year 2024 election. So these kind of people, this from Democrats, will probably become the governor of California. Think
yeah.
about that. How crazy our California is going to go. So,
I know.
um, yeah, well, thank you so much for for the questions. I have lots of questions today, and I really appreciate it. And I definitely thank you so much for telling us about the 1964, where we passed so many ridiculous laws, and its effect at in the 60s and effect up today. It actually changes the face of the nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see if we can do anything or if um the judge can do anything about that. No, no. There's some client, some audience just say hi to you and thank you, Tom. And then uh, gentleman 26, he said, haha, he's so attracting. Talk about the lady. The lawyer said Gavin Newsom is good looking. So
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
she
Yeah. I
gonna.
think she said he was pretty, either beautiful or pretty. Oh, he's so pretty. I would vote for him.
Well, I think it's not only her. There are
Oh,
people.
exactly right. Now, it's interesting. It was in the news today about a candidate in California being interviewed by a reporter, I think yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and she got mad at the questions and all of that. and walked off the set. Now I'm looking at this woman
Uh-huh.
and extremely overweight,
Yeah.
extreme, let's just say she's not pretty, unattractive.
Uh-uh.
I'm just
Uh-uh.
going to say it. I'm going out on a limb that she's not going to win any legitimate beauty contest. So I was thinking when I saw that woman do that and walk off the interview
Uh-huh.
that, think of Sonny Hostin.
Yeah.
Well, she couldn't vote for her because she's not pretty enough. She's not as good looking as Gavin. So,
You know what, Tom? The lady just you talk about is the same one I talk about. And she
okay.
said her 12-year-old crying about cannot got abortion if she got ripped. So this is the one person. Think
Okay.
about the quality of the candidates from Democrats. It's a shame.
Well, you wouldn't want California to pick a good candidate. You wouldn't want Los Angeles to pick a good mayor or San Francisco because the Democrats are just absolutely committed to destroying
Mhm.
wherever they're at, the jurisdiction, the
Right,
city, the
right,
county, or the state.
right, right.
And now what we'll hear coming up with 2028, coming close to the next presidential election,
Mhm.
is Gavin Newsom, and that's probably going to be his campaign. If you want consistency in politics, I'm the person because I ruined San Francisco, I ruined California. Give me the country.
Yeah. Well, this is a good one. This is a good
Yeah.
one. I
Yeah.
guarantee you're going to become next, destroy the president. Wow,
Right.
what a nightmare. Well, thank you so much, Tom. I'll translate this into Chinese. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. There's a lots of yeah, funny stuff here, but yeah, we'll see. And then is there anything that you need to talk to the audience and have them pay attention this week?
No, I think just keep looking at some of these interviews that get done that they point out, like this woman that walked off the interview. She didn't like the questions or whatever. And just try to watch with the idea that is the tide going to turn nationally? It
Mhm,
already turned with the presidential election. You have Trump getting elected in a landslide,
mhm,
but the Democrats, with closing the government and some of the other things they're doing,
mhm.
um, will that convince you to never vote for them and keep them out of office?
Thank you so much. Thank you. This is what we need to do.
Yep.
Don't let
Yeah.
them.
Pay attention to what they're saying and doing or not doing and
Right,
how that's hurting.
right, exactly.
Because up until now, I think the one thing that really, really aggravates me, my hometown of Chicago, or even these other cities, is that in spite of how terrible things are, Democrats keep voting Democrats in without even picking a good one.
Hmm.
So they go from bad to worse. My beloved Chicago with that moron, the woman that was mayor for a while. Uh, I've tuned her out of my mind. And now the subsequent mayors know better.
Hmm. Exactly, exactly. People need to open your eyes, pay
Or
attention.
Los Angeles, you elect a communist
Oh,
mayor, and she'll
so,
probably get reelected. New
so
York's about to elect a communist, Mandami. So you just see one after the other where they're electing people that are ruining
hmm.
wherever that is, that city or that state.
Hmm. Exactly, exactly. We saw that in California for over 20 years.
Yeah,
So bad. Yeah. Thank you so much for mentioning that. And this is the purpose, at least one of the purpose for us to keep doing our podcast. Just want to
right.
let people listen and just open your eyes and look at that for your community and for the nation and for your
Yeah.
next generation. Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll translate that and I'll see you sometime next week.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. I know Han appreciates it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. See you and take care.